I guess you would say that there's just some things in life you have to deal with.
You earning the skill that will propel you.
School was part of it, but...
What's up guys, this is Musa. This is going to be part 3 of the video series Why or Why Not Schooling. If you guys haven't checked the last 2 videos of this series, please make sure to check them out. I will leave the link on the top. As you guys know that there are 3 basic types of education: formal, non-formal and informal. So formal education is something which you get from your high school, university, college, or an institution. Now non-formal education is for adults who didn't get a chance to go to school. Now the informal education is the most interesting one, because this is something which you don't get from school. So here you learn from your family, from your friends and the environment around you. So among these 3 types, at least informal education is for everyone. And what I mean by that is, if you're living in any part of this world, you could educate yourself with the least amount of resources available. And why I'm saying this is because someone told me that in order to go to a university or a college, you have to have your mom and dad. And this was really sad. But all I could say in this case is, for formal education, you could always try different types of scholarship programs. So you could use your phone, laptop, or any similar gadget. And all you need is an internet connection. And you are one click away from the scholarships. I understand it may be difficult or time consuming, but it's not impossible. So all you need to do is you need to apply, and you never know that you may get it. And once again, we know that these financial problems are universal problems. And I will be making a couple of videos covering scholarships in coming days for you guys. But remember that scholarships are important if you're going for schooling option. I did talk about the no school option in the last few videos, and I'm also going to talk about the no school option in part 4 and part 5 of this video series. So make sure you check out the links on the top. Having said that, now let us see what our friends have to say about why or why not schooling. So let us get started.
It's interesting because if you have a goal of what you want to do when you're young, if you have a passion, then everything else falls in line, and school lines up with your passion, and so it grows with you. For me, I'm an artist, and so what I do is music, and also I tie that in with doing professional work and doing directing for the video games. And so when I went to school, I learned the names of chords, and I learned the names of technical things, but what I learned about music, I learned on my own through building studios and making music and putting records out, and being part of the scene of the world, that kind of thing, and then branching out into commercials, and branching out into professional work, and branching out into movies, and writing both of those things at the same time. And when I did that, school was part of it, but 90% of it was who you know and what's your passion, and can you accelerate at being the very best at that. And that's really a personal goal. And so the only school really is inside of it.
From my perspective, education is a key piece on my life, has been a key piece on my life. And specifically the last experience that I had personally was, I came to Canada actually to study a master's program at U Waterloo. And that was a life-changing experience for me, particularly. On one side, because of what I learned there, of course, it was a Master of Business Entrepreneurship program, so I gained exposure with investors, angel investors, a lot of classmates that were giving that plus on what I knew before. You're coming from a different country, and then you suddenly are with, I don't know, 10, 12 different nationalities around the world. You're working with them, you team up to reach a common goal. That could be a particular project, an exam, and so on. So that was very enriching for me. But most importantly is how that becomes not a rule, but a way of life, a way of thinking, on how you shape your thought process, on accepting the differences, on embracing different opinions, and then pushing into or converting that into value. So the main takeaway that I get from being in those environments and education systems is you gain exposure to others' ways of thinking. you gain a different perspective of what you think the life is, what the world is from your definition before you went into that place. So I think that's a real value. Besides the scores, besides the grades, besides the actual certification, diploma, that's a secondary stuff. It's the impact in the life when you gain exposure in knowing different ways of thinking, in knowing different perspectives. Education allows you to formulate your own way of thinking, and that's your signature forever.
But I think from my own perception, going to school is the basis of everything, because school typically is actually meant for learning, right? So we have different classes of school. We have artisans in schooling, we have professional system of schooling, we have mentioned a few of them. Even there are different phases of life that one goes to school to learn, right? So now it depends on what you're doing and what you're going to do in school. Like I said earlier, people go into school to become professional in their own field of career. Yeah. But it doesn't necessarily mean that one has to spend 4 or 5 years to get to the professional that he wants. So it depends on where you're going. Take for instance, a medical doctor has to pass through the rigorous process of education to well refined so he can practice as a professional, right? Now you look at somebody that a cobbler that is into shoe mending has to learn the artisan's work so he can become professional in building shoes, repairing of shoes and all that. So if you compare two persons like that, doesn't necessarily need to spend 4 or 5 years to get the expected skills to become the cobbler, the shoe mender we talked about. Now look at somebody that is into building, right? Now if you're not doing building as an engineering, you don't necessarily need to spend the expected 4 or 5 years that we're looking up to become skillful enough to become building. We have people that are into businesses. We have people that are into professionally business. We have people that are into raw business as a skill, learning the trade and become a business tycoon. They don't need to spend that so much years to get to that stage of being educated. So the basis of it is you have the preamble of education. Then once you have the knowledge, you can now channel it into that aspect of it that you actually wanted to go into. Yeah, it's just about you earning the skill that will propel you to do that which you wanted to become.
Education is very important in every aspect of life. Even though you want to do business, you want to be self-employed, or you want to work 9 to 5 with somebody. To me, you have to be educated. If I take myself for an example, I'm a graduate, right? I went to school, but I never for once used the certificate to earn a living. I do business, but I can't succeed in my business without the knowledge I acquire from the school. Though not everything I learned from the school, but at least I learned something on how to make money. So I just have to develop more on it. So to me, if you want to meet up in life, want to make money in life, you still have to go to school. It's not compulsory you go to university, get the master's degree, doctorate degree, but at least you have to go to school, because to me the millionaires you see today, anyone working 8 to 5 to become a millionaire, it's impossible.
Right.
So but I believe you need school to be the basis of whatever you want to become.
I think school is important. I think it's important because it provides a sort of structure for society. Because if, like, say there wasn't any school, I feel like there won't be a sort of, it provides direction in life, because you need a certain structure in your life in order for you to function properly and to function with other people. A place for people to socialize and to learn, and it sort of scaffolds you, and it gives you that direction to succeed. And it also provides you a sort of many opportunities, right? Like there's so many opportunities, so many things you could do. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, anything you want, and school gives you that.
What about the people who really don't like school? How do you convince them to go to school?
I guess you would say that there's just some things in life you have to deal with. Some things in life you're just not gonna enjoy, and you just have to sort of suck it up. Once you do those things, there's a sort of a light at the end of the tunnel, so you just have to make that sacrifice.
The main reason to go to school is to learn how to learn, And the second reason is to go to university, for instance, to follow through, so that employers see that you've actually followed through. So they don't really hire you because you actually know the knowledge. Some of the times they hire you because you've actually had the guts and the wherewithal to actually complete what you wanted to complete, that you didn't drop out.
I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please make sure to subscribe and like, and see you guys next time.